Well, good morning, everybody. It is Taco Tuesday. DT Driver's home today. He might get out of bed and come give us a dad joke. Who knows? Tam here. Good morning. Angel P's in the house. Hey, Black Skies. I feel like it's been forever since I've done the show and seen you guys. How strange, because we've been together 8-9 hours a day for the last 2 weeks. And as much as I love to do the trials and follow them to the end, sometimes they get real daunting. But when you hear that gavel and you hear guilty on all charges, and I love how they didn't list them off, like little at a time. They're like, fuck it, she's done. Done. Also, Sarah Boone, guilty. I bet that plea deal's looking pretty good right now. She refused. What do you think? Good morning, Walking Dead. True Crime Beat. We already had our pre-party. We were on the phone. Danny Dane said, yes, ma'am, that's the best sound. Good morning, Yada. So it seems like, I might be, what do they say, milking it? But there's still more things to discuss. And the thing that people are really wanting to discuss. Now, we have renamed the Quinton Simon group on Facebook. If anybody can put that link in, that would be extremely beneficial. Because so many people are screaming saying, you're telling me that nothing's going to happen to Billy Joe? Not one thing? Now, she's been in a couple of other chats, and she keeps saying she would have loved to have testified. Well, why did the DA not want Billy on the stand? Why? Why did she not want him on the stand? Her on the stand. Because she's a loose cannon. You don't know what she's going to say to confuse the jury. She still keeps saying there's more to the story. Oh, come on. Shut the front door. More to the story? You really think that the state of Georgia didn't want the whole story? They want it all? But again, she's a victim. Now, there is a rumor floating around. I can't confirm nor deny that she has custody of Zane and Sky. Why? Why? Zane has a daddy. Zane has a grandpa. Good morning, Kiki. Sky has a daddy that took the stand. She has a grandma in North Carolina. From what I've seen, it's a nice house. Why on earth would they say that Billy should have the kids? I'm not going to believe it till I have something a little more concrete. No way. But let's take a second and tell everyone good morning, miss ya, love ya, so glad you're here. Retro girl said I need my glasses. I have got, I used to have about 5 pairs of these readers. But the thing is OJ plays with them, and so they get broken. Good morning, Mary Glick. Hey, hippie grandma. Shonda said, I seen an interview where that defense attorney said she has custody to his knowledge. Ooh. To his knowledge. Now, that's such a lawyer term. Good morning, Kaleidohope. That is such a lawyer term to say to his knowledge. Well, When that came across Al Gore's internet, shit hit the fan. My phone was buzz, 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 buzz. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Did they find JonBenet Ramsey's killer? Hell's going on? And that's what they were talking about. Billy has the kids. Now, in my America, we don't put kids back with the people that failed them. We don't put kids back with the people that have already lost custody, meaning Billy. Billy lost custody. After Quinton went missing, she lost custody. If you remember this is when they took custody away from her. The maternal grandmother has permanent guardianship order as to Zane, pursuant to documents from the juvenile court of Burke County. The maternal grandmother failed to provide adequate supervision for the child Zane. Okay, if I was those daddies, grandma, grandpa, I'd be suing the state of Georgia. If this is true. But I know what is true. Look at that. Angel P. gifted 10 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Diana Howery gifted 10 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Gotta be kidding me. That means we have 20 more friends. Get your umbrellas. I just don't even want to think about it. I don't want to believe it. Well, let's get to some of your comments that you left me over the weekend because they were great. Okay, over the weekend, I said I want to mention the family's statement. Billy says that she loves her daughter. Okay, love away. But you know what she did and you knew what she was capable of. In parentheses, it says, but they do not stand by any of this. That's a very loose sentence for me. They do not stand by any of this. You mean the trial, what your daughter did, putting the drug dealer on the stand, which Billy, you know him too. Okay, I'm not saying as intimately as Lazy, but you know him too. What do they not stand by? We need a little more definition in that sentence. All right, your comments. Robin 874. Remember, if I use your comment, if I showcase your comment, you send me an email and you will go into a drawing for an Amazon gift card. Robin 874 is going in the drawing because she said the audacity of that woman who won't look at her past behavior to recognize why and how this could happen. I, like many people, are angry and frustrated that she was given guardianship of these children, and for some reason, she decided to hand them back to a neglectful, abusive, unfit mother. Billy, who also is tainted with the same brush, has failed that precious, vulnerable baby. The system failed that child. Billy should face charges of child endangerment and neglect. Can I get a boom in here? Boom. Can I get a boom? Facts. Spirit 8 is going in the drawing. If you email me, because if you don't remind me, I don't know. Spirit 8 said if she had done what was asked of her and kept Quinton away from his mother and never left him with her, then Quinton would still be around. She has every reason to want her daughter not guilty. It would exonerate her of her own guilt, in my opinion. Holy hail. Can I get another boom? Can I get another what? So true. She would love for it to be Danny. Love for it to be Danny. But because she has to live with her own guilt, she would do anything for Leilani to not be guilty. What an amazing contest. Comment. Sorry, not contest. I read contest. Comment. Stacy, 8464, woo, said, I feel justice wasn't all the way done. Billy should get charged. Quinton would still be here if she didn't leave him with that monster. I can go on all day with your comments because they were amazing. Lena Jams, my girl, said, I guess it's easier for BJ to live in this fantasy world if somebody else did it rather than face she has 2 children in prison for life. Wow, you got that right. Hand of applause, please. Angel P said, see a pattern here? I do. Mermaid said, you guys are bringing the facts. Really struck me when Spirit 8 said she would do anything for her not to be guilty. And she has every reason for her to not want her to be guilty. I mean, every reason. She's the mother of her grandchildren. She is her daughter. She facilitated this whole living arrangement. She would do anything for her to not be guilty. But it's not that she gives so much of a shit about Lazy. It's to help her own conscience. Well, see, it wasn't my daughter. My daughter didn't do anything. It was Danny. And if they would charge her with something, there wouldn't be a snowball's chance in Haiti of getting those kids. Again, I'm not going to believe the defense attorney until we have something a little more ironclad. But let's go into the time capsule. This is from a couple of years ago. Why didn't Leilani take the stand? You all tell me what you think.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Dawn Baker. In a WTOC exclusive, Leilani Simon, the mother of missing Chatham County toddler Quinton Simon, is speaking out tonight for the very first time since he was reported missing nearly 3 weeks ago. Chatham County Police and the FBI believe Quinton is dead and are actively searching a local landfill for his remains. Police say
still gives me chills, especially during the trial when they spoke about the equipment that they had to use. Grueling hours away from their family. These dudes are from Virginia. And women, dudes and dudettes. And through tropical storms, excessive heat, you name it. Imagine how muggy it was. There wasn't enough Gold Bond powder to go around for all those chafed balls. No way. Could you imagine? So while this is going on, Billy and Leilani were out drinking and partying. Nani, BJ didn't testify for Quinton, but I bet she gives a statement on her daughter's behalf to the court when Lazy gets sentenced. Well, I'm wondering myself. She said she doesn't. She's scared of people, is what Billy said. Now, I have heard from people that live in the area. They've seen her at some different, big box stores, stuff like that. I don't know if that means Costco, Sam's, or whatever. They said big box stores. And people, they heckle her and they give her all kinds of shit. Tammy T said she needs to be charged. Love CLL. Love you, member for 14 months. Better believe it. Partying while this is going on.
Leilani is the only suspect in his disappearance as well as his death. And tonight we have team coverage with our Shay Schrader and investigative reporter Max Dieknike. We begin with Shay, who joins us live outside of the Simon home. Shay, what did she talk to you about?
Leilani and I spoke about a number of things, including what she remembers from the morning she first reported Quinton missing to what life has been like as the days have gone on.
By the way, this has been confirmed. It was not closed court. Now, in a lot of courtrooms, they'll say if you are a witness that's taking the stand, or we might call you, you can't be in the gallery. They don't want you watching it. They don't want you fucking around on YouTube, which Billy did, of course. Billy was in different chats. I couldn't believe she did that. But it was not a closed courtroom. So Billy's mom, Billy's sister, Zane's grandpa, Zane's dad, Sky's grandma, they all should have been there, in my opinion, for Quinton. In my opinion. Uh-oh. Mr. Pookie's Grammy said BJ is only about BJ. She's the most selfish. B-I ... Woo! Y'all on fire today.
Still with no sign of Quinton. I talked to Leilani as well as her mother, Billy Howell, who were both just distraught over Quinton's disappearance. They say they've been harassed in the days and weeks since Quinton disappeared, but Leilani wants everybody to know that she's not running away.
Okay, this interview, after seeing the trial, gives me more chills than it did before. Uh-oh, I'm that bitch, Mama Bear. How you doing, girlfriend? Said the babysitter was also in YouTube chats when the trial was going on. You've got to be kidding me. We try and we try and we try to give people the benefit of the doubt. We do. She's in YouTube chats. Hopefully it's after she testified. Well, fuck me with a Sarah Boone steak, if you know what I mean. You've got to be kidding me. Son of a bitch.
I'm here. I've been here every day since this. I am not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Chatham County Police have repeatedly said that though they've named Leilani the prime suspect in her son's disappearance and death, they don't believe she's a flight risk. Leilani says that she and her mother, Billy Howell, spend their days in the backyard of their home because it's too difficult to be inside with reminders of Quinton and the fact that he's gone.
Every day that goes by is less tears and more anger, not knowing.
We watched the trial, and you're sitting there in front of Shay Schrader, who was in the courtroom every day. It's just more anger, just not knowing. Shut up. You were caught on camera. You were caught on camera at the dumpster. You were caught on camera buying the 2 tall boys of Natty Light. Your tag was scanned on the way to see Red. Nonnie McPoppins, she said D&D. Let's add another D to it. Dick, drugs, and drink. That's all she cares about. A good old dickin', good old drugs, and good old drinking. That's all she knows. Look at her. Just the frustration of not knowing. It's just frustration of not knowing. Shut up. You knew exactly where he was. And you led that entire state on a wild goose chase all the way to the waste management. It's funny how certain people that claim to love Quinton so much haven't said anything about that beautiful memorial that Superior Landfill put up for Quinton. Nothing. They haven't said a thing about it. Have they gone to visit? You think Billy's gone out there to look at it? No. Nope. Because they're the same, my friends. They're the same.
What's happening? If that's even understandable. You wake up every day angry, hoping that you're going to get a phone call, and that phone call just doesn't come.
CCPD and the FBI haven't released many details in the case and haven't said why they believe Quinton is in a landfill. Police say they're doing that to preserve any potential court cases down the line. Leilani and Billy tell me that they get their new information about the case from watching the news and that they feel all they can do now is hope.
We want something great to come out of this, but mostly we want him not to be found in that landfill.
Truer words have never been spoken. Billy got her O-face on. Okay? Billy got her O-face on. Leilani's trying to look upset. That's the look of fear because she knows what's going to happen. But truer words have never been spoken. When she said, we don't want him to be found in that landfill. I think, in my opinion, I've got to stress that, she meant we don't want him to be found. Because at this point, they knew there was not going to be any arrest for Leilani unless Quinton was found. Now, they would arrest her on something. They would have put it together because they weren't screwing around. But listen to how she says it. This family puts the D in dysfunction. Add another D to it. Dickin', drugs, drank, dysfunction.
Hope.
We want something great to come out of this, but mostly we want him not to be found in that landfill. We want him found happy and alive. We want him back in our arms, holding us. That's what we want. We're just hoping that he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him, and they were hoping that, maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior. But it's not. That's their best hopes at this point.
Okay. The truth is, I think Billy honestly does love her grandchildren. I really do. That's my opinion. I know some people argue with me and they're like, oh, she doesn't give a shit about them. I think she was just trying to keep the map folded, if you know what I mean. She knows that what her daughter is spewing is total bullshit. She had already said to other creators that she was texting, he's in the landfill. He's in the landfill. They say Leilani done it, is what she said. But she doesn't remember. Canadian Cookie said, oh my God, happy and alive. She knew what she did. She knew exactly what she did. But when you hear Billy, you're so right, Canadian Cookie. When you hear Billy say, more than anything, we don't want him found in that landfill. Chop that sentence in half. You know, like when we were in third grade and we would have to diagram sentences? Chop it in half. We don't want him to be found. Not just in the landfill. We don't want him to be found. Because at this point, they knew lie lazy, lay on my back lazy, freaking knew that she was the prime suspect. They knew it. They also knew they weren't arresting her because they had not found Quinton.
Chatham County Police say they have no reason to believe that Quinton was abducted or kidnapped, and they have evidence that suggests he was placed in a dumpster and that his remains are in the landfill that they're currently searching. Leilani Simon hasn't been charged with anything at this time, but police say she is the only suspect in her son's disappearance. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
Okay, so for those in the back that are still saying, Danny, 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 did you watch the trial? If it was Danny, he'd be hanging by his toenails right now. That jury would have come back a lot faster if it was Danny. A lot faster. Tiffany Crockett, who just had a birthday, she said, Leilani is so gross. We missed our girl Tiffany the other day, so we got to sing her happy birthday now. Y'all light it up for our girl Tiff. Happy birthday, my friend. Now, we're recapping the trial, and we have some other things to discuss because one of the things that her attorneys have said, I really don't want to give them more airtime, but I'm going to have to. In a separate article, they deny any PTSD by the jury. No, get real. Of course, they've had nightmares, thinking, looking at those videos, listening to all that. They want a new trial. They want a new trial. Can you believe it? They want a freaking new trial. Well, our friend Evil Exists clipped that we're getting ready to watch. Clip this. And we're going to go through it because if they get a new trial, it better be televised. And they better bring this lady back. List. What prison is she going to? We won't know until she's sentenced, hon. That will be in December.
Is definitely heating up, with her ex-boyfriend giving telling testimony about Leilani and their relationship. However, in this video, I want to play a clip where another witness talks about how she contacted Quinton Simon's ghost. She says that she lit her candle and had a Bible with her. She is a practicing Christian.
This shit was great. I don't know if it's December 2nd or December 9th. True Crime Beat told me this morning. I already forgot. They want a new friggin' trial. Well, they better bring old girl with the candle in the Bible because she knocked my socks off that day.
Apparently, Quinton called her Mama Mel and said, "Help me." Quinton said his mom hurt him. She hit him in the head really hard. Quinton allegedly showed her a sign of where he was, by the landfill. She said after she prayed and wished Quinton to rest in peace, and that we will get the justice he deserves, she turned on the lights, and something really odd happened. Her son's hoverboard, that was completely destroyed in the mud, started going on and off and moving on its own.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you not?
Now, this was one of the times that I believe that the state should have objected and said, she's not here to talk about channeling Quinton's ghost. She's not here for that. She's here to testify about what Lila Lazy said to her, that she should have had an abortion, she hated Quinton, all the above. They should have objected to this, but it's out now.
I tell him that you had communed with Quinton Simon's ghost.
Yes, and if you would like, I can actually do it here and show you guys.
Oh, please, by all means. I would love to see this.
Give me a holy Bible and a candle. Yes, sir.
So that being said, you told Mr. Dean this, correct?
I sure did.
And you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, your husband videotaped the seance, correct?
He did.
And anytime I'm making a misstatement as to what
I love that shit when she's like, if you bring me a candle and a Bible, I can bring him right here. And I'm like, OMG. Now, I'm not saying these things aren't possible. I'm not saying that. If you're a believer in contact in the afterlife, I am not saying these things are impossible. This was just a real dirty move by the defense. And Leilani is going to appeal her sentence, but they want a whole new trial, not an appeal. Everybody appeals. It's almost automatic. Everybody appeals when they're convicted to life or death. But a new trial? Get the hell out of here. Does anyone here think that it was an unfair trial?
you said that Quinton Simon spoke to you through a candle.
He spoke to me through images. Okay, when I was in my trance, I couldn't see anything except for what he was showing me and what he was telling me as a 15-month-old could do.
Okay. And so he was a 15-month-old ghost speaking to you. Please tell me about this. I would love to hear it.
Okay, so this is what I did. And I lit my candle, had my Bible out, and I prayed. I asked if I could reach out to Quinton Simon. And here he comes. Behold. Do I see him physically? No. But here he is, and he is Mama Mel. That's what I was always called by them. Mama Mel, help me. I said, with what? I said, help me help you. What happened? He said, Mommy hurt me. I asked him, how did he hurt you? Or how did she hurt you? Sorry. And he told me, she hit me in the head really hard. I said, okay. I was like, what else? And I said, did you, get any candy, thinking maybe he got into drugs or something? And he said, no. I said, okay, where are you? And he threw me the star of the church that's next to the landfill on that.
Well, she was right about that. And she said this all happened before they started searching the landfill. I don't know. I wasn't there for the damn seance. I wasn't. Not at all. But this is when the state should have objected and been like, she's not here for this. But it all turned out in their favor because old Lie Lazy. Count to 10. She's down.
Dirt road right there next to Little Neck Road on the dump. He showed me exactly where he was in that pile with his arm hanging out, lifeless, gray, and there's blood in a bag that looked like it used to be like a bluish purple color. And he's throwing up blood. After I closed out the seance, I prayed and I said, I wish you peace and to pass on peacefully. You'll get the justice you need. Okay, I prayed, closed it out. That was that. Blew out the candle, turned on the lights, and my hoverboard that both my son had, that was completely destroyed because he took it through a mud puddle. When you take a hoverboard, electric hoverboard through a mud puddle, it's done. It started turning on and off by itself and moving, even though it's completely done for, and I've tried charging it and nothing.
And what date was this?
What day was that? That was, to be honest with you, is sometime in November of 2022. I don't know the exact date. I do not.
So this was after they announced they found remains in the landfill.
No, this is actually before the indictment report came out. I had the dream, which I told them already, but yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So it was in November, correct?
Roughly, maybe the end of October. It's in that time area. I also had a major craniotomy that year, so my memory's a little.
What's a craniotomy?
Where you have to have a major brain surgery. They take your skull off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you had a craniotomy?
I did.
And you told.
How the fuck did her hair grow back so quick? They had an entire chance to object to all of this. They just let her sit there and keep talking. I would have been like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on there. Miss, they took your skull off. What the hell? Was Daisy there in the room? They're just letting her make a fool out of herself.
Told all this to Mr. Dean.
To Mr. Yes.
Mr. Dean. That's all the questions I have.
Melanie, is it fair to say that I brought you into my office to talk about concrete things that you heard the defendant say over the years about Quinton?
Yes.
Okay. And that you volunteered the information about the seance, right?
I did. Because I don't know if you guys recognize that kind of stuff or not.
And do you remember me telling you, well, I have to tell the defense about this because it's a thing you said as a witness, but that it's seance information is not admissible in court?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
And do you remember acknowledging pretty even-handedly that you understand that not everybody believes in these things?
I do. And that's why I didn't want to speak upon it like that. Yes, sir.
Now, you said that you had a Bible with you while you were doing this.
Yes.
And it was a Christian Bible.
Yes, sir. I was baptized and
Who gives a rat's ass if she had a Bible? Oh, hold on. This is important. Jane's Addiction said she had a craniotomy. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. She said they didn't completely shave my head. I have a huge scar. They just shaved the cutting area. Well, good to know. That was just my question. I'm like, how the hell did her hair grow back? But she said they removed her skull. I guess if they remove your skull, they can leave the hair on there. I'm glad you're okay, girlfriend. I am. All right, so he's asking her if she had a Bible. Who gives a shit if she had a Bible? I don't care if she had a flashlight and a crowbar and peach jelly. What's that got to do with anything? This was about the testimony sworn under oath about what Leilani said to her about her feelings about Quinton.
raised as a Christian.
Do you remain a practicing Christian?
I sure do, sir.
Do you consider this some sort of a prayer practice, what you're describing?
Yes, sir. I mean, in a way.
Do you consider it a private matter?
A private matter? Yes.
How does it feel to come into court and essentially get made fun of for it?
You know, to be honest with you, it's kind of embarrassing because, like you said, not everybody believes in this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I was born with a gift that I call a curse.
Now, does any of this have anything to do with the things that you heard her say about her son, both before and after his birth?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just one or two follow-up. Ms. Bowling, you're willing to hold yourself up to ridicule to get justice for Quinton, aren't you?
Excuse me?
Said you're willing to hold yourself up to public ridicule to get justice for Quinton, aren't you?
I guess so. I'm here to get justice for him, so.
What aren't you willing to do for Quinton's justice?
Well, I've done everything I can possibly for his justice.
Thank you so much.
Anything further from the state?
No, no.
Please go ahead and excuse me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I light a candle and I see a ghost of somebody, I'm blowing that motherfucker out. But that's just me. Okay. We had a lot of other stuff going on. A lot. Now, after listening to it for 2 solid weeks, the defense is saying it was a shock. It was a shock. The only thing that has shocked me recently is that OU sucks ass. Okay? Sucks ass. I've about had it with them. They need to send old Venables somewhere else. I've had it. There's been a lot of domestic violence and dog kicking in this state with how OU has been performing. Sophia said, yep, that's why I stopped buying Yankee Candle. Yeah, we don't, We miss our loved ones. We don't want them floating around and rattling chains over us and shit, okay? So they want a new trial. How is that going to work out with all of these testimonies? Here's another one.
We have on the screen here slide 1 of State's Exhibit 18. And what I'd like to do with this exhibit is just have you tell us.
I want feel beautiful, not barely average. I want to feel loved, not just liked. I want to feel wanted, not just tolerated. Welcome to every woman's life, lazy. Okay? We can't all be Cindy Crawford and Richard Gere back in the day, you fucking idiot. I want to be able to look at you and know it's just me, not wonder how many others there are. I want to feel like my body is worth showing off. Not like it's just been trashed from having 3 kids. I want to feel the way you made me feel in the beginning, like I'm treasured. Actually, I'm going to screenshot this and I'm going to send this to DT Driver. I'm going to clip that. I'm going to send it to him and see what he says. He's going to be like, what are you on crack? What are you talking about? Could you just imagine sending this to somebody? Anybody. Could you imagine? I want to feel the way you made me feel in the beginning, like I'm treasured and safe. Not like I'm just here because you really don't have a choice. They all have a choice. That's the reason Paul said on the stand when Danny was introduced, he was just another one of Lilazy's baby daddies. Yeah, he'll be up in a second. I'm going to say this to him. You guys are going to get to hear it. I'm going to read it verbatim, by the way. He'll be out in a second. He's doing some stuff.
The date of the message and read the message, okay?
So this was sent on 7/12/22. It says, I want to feel beautiful, not barely average.
Okay, I just spit my friggin' coffee. Gina F said the beginning of, so like 6 months ago. Yeah, girl. Yeah. Yeah. He got sick of throwing that hot dog down the hallway in 6 months. You didn't know him that long. And you're already pulling this stuff? Exactly, Gina.
I want to feel loved, not just liked. I want to feel wanted, not just tolerated. I want to be able to look at you and know it's just me, not wondering how many others there are. I want to feel like my body is worth showing off, not like it's just.
You know, isn't this the typical sleut? And we all know one. We all know it, okay? We all know one. She is playing hide the baloney with the drug dealer and whining to Danny that he's not attracted to her and that her body has been ruined by having 3 children. Anybody take pride in their stretch marks? Anybody say, yeah, exactly. Went through all of that. Look at these beautiful children. This text message is to Danny as she's getting it on with the rug dealer.
It's been trashed from having 3 kids. I want to feel the way you made me feel in the beginning, like I'm treasured and safe, not like I'm just here because you really don't have a choice.
Slide 2.
Sent on 7/15/22.
She's one of those women, and listen, we all know one, okay? We all know the girl that gets a little too drunk at the office Christmas party, all right? But she's one of those women that associates blowjobs, Hershey Highway, and all the above with love. She thinks she's going to meet some old dude at the swimming hole and they're going to get it on and he loves her. She really thinks that. Now, in my opinion, yes, sex is love. But not when you give your love to everybody on Tybee Island. No, it don't work that way.
And I damn sure ain't the reason why you talk to other bitches in the first goddamn place or you put your dick in to begin with.
Slide 3.
On 8/6/22. Yeah, go get yourself some ass. I know mine is good enough. Never was, never will be.
Now, the video that's been introduced into evidence is States Exhibit 19. When was this video? Were you able to tell when the video was filmed?
Yes, we were.
Okay. What was the date that video was filmed?
On August 6th.
At this time, I will publish States Exhibit 19.
To Sky, Zane, and Quinton. Mama tried. Your mama's not here no more because she doesn't want you. I do. I can't love myself. If I can love myself, how can I love y'all?
Okay, so she mentions here, and this is triggering for some people. If it's triggering you, you're having any thoughts of harming yourself, call 911. Don't be in here. When shit started to go down with Billy, Danny mentioned it on the stand as well. He knew he had to save a lot of money because he knew that they were going to have to move because Billy pulled her eviction BS. Even the kids she had custody of. Permanent guardianship. She said she wanted them all gone. Nobody's living in peace. They're destroying my shit. Stay Wild Mustang, I want to talk about this. Said, really, I never heard of a crooked drug dealer have all those rights. Every damn case. They hand out those immunities and proffer agreements like they're cheap candy at trunk or treat. Every damn time. And no, we couldn't see him on camera and couldn't hear what he was saying because he's now an informant. Every time. The Harmony Montgomery trial. I about lost my mind. Every piece of shit they dug up, they all got some sort of immunity.
I have tried over and over and over and I failed. I screamed for help and I don't get it. Sky, you are such a beautiful little girl. I wish I could watch you grow up. I wish I could hold you for your first heartbreak because my mama didn't. Sky, I love you, baby girl. And Zane, you were so handsome, so sweet, so protective. You were gonna be such a good man one day. Just a good man. I hope you grow up and you learn what loyalty is. And you learn how to treat a woman and how to love a woman. And Quinton, baby, you are a middle child. You're so happy all the time. You smile all the time. I wish I could see what kind of man you would be too.
Okay, so as we know, she didn't really have anything to say about Quinton. Tiffany Crockett said, I thought she was headed to go unalive herself. Yep, going to the river. Going to the river. Because old Danny doesn't want to plug that drain anymore. He's done with it. Yet here she is. Have we heard about her being on S-Watch? In jail? Anything like that? This was all to get Danny's attention. Every bit of it.
And Danny, I love you.
Hang on, Greg's up. I'm going to read this to him. So, Greg, let's say I sent this to you. What are you doing?
Looking for Christmas gifts.
Looking for Christmas gifts? No. They're under the tree. They're wrapped. Okay, so let's pretend that I sent this to you, Greg. Okay? Are you paying attention?
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel beautiful, not barely average. I want to feel loved, not just liked. I want to feel wanted, not just tolerated. I want to be able to look at you and know it's just me, not wonder how many others there are. I want to know like my body is worth showing off, not like it's just been trashed from having 3 kids. I want to feel the way you made me feel in the beginning, like I'm treasured and safe, not like I'm just here because you really don't have a choice. So how would you, as a man, respond to that if you received that message?
Run away. Run very far away.
He said, I'd run away. I'd run very far away.
It's just psychotic.
He was just psych.
Relationships don't work like that. They just don't. Yeah, there's a honeymoon stage and everybody's happy, joy in the beginning.
Mhm.
But after a while, you actually love each other and realize who you are as people and you have a relationship.
Mhm.
She'll never be happy. Ever.
Well, she got her GED there in the jail, so she's going to be a lawyer.
Uh-huh.
She's getting some prison love now.
Well, she doesn't.
You was all of me, all of my heart. I loved you. I wished that the ground you walked on. When we found each other, we were both in such fragile states. And I built you back up. I would do anything for you. But during this time that I was building you back up, you were doing things that would eventually tear me back down.
Extended internet, unlimited data, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free streaming box.
And even now, after everything that I think has been brought to light, hopefully it was everything, right? Even now, you look at me with the same look in your eyes that you have when you talk about Caitlin. I don't hear the love in your voice anymore. I don't feel the love in your touch anymore. And I definitely don't see the love in your eyes anymore.
This is quite the S video. And who's taking care of the kids as she's going down to the river to do herself in? Our girl Susan, just me, said, in my opinion, he accused her of infidelity. Yeah, I think he was figuring out there was a little bit more to the rug dealer relationship than just picking up the Coca-Cola, if you know what I
when
mean.
you don't have money from a job to pay for them rugs, how do you think you pay for them?
Ooh, Greg goes, well, if you don't have a job and you don't have money to pay for those rugs, how do you think you pay for them? Yeah. Well, look who's back. Tar Heel. Girl, where you been?
I'll be back in a moment.
But you truly loved me like you claimed. You wouldn't have done all that. Even when I was carrying your child and hating myself every fucking day, crying myself to sleep every fucking night because you did not want to have sex with me. You did not want to love me. You just did not want me. And I wanted you. I wanted you. I wanted you more than life itself. But you've proven that it was only one way. That feeling was only one way. That love, that loyalty, it was all one way. You take care of my kids. Okay? You couldn't take care of me. You couldn't love me. You couldn't do me right. So please, for the love of fucking God, do my kids right. And I can't do it. I'm at the river now. Bye, Daddy.
Okay, let's talk about this. Danny was so used to her crazy ass, needy, desperate behavior that he didn't even feel the need to call a doctor, to call 911. He was just like, yeah, she'll be back. Yeah, she'll be back. Someone gets a video like that, you would be instantly jarred. But he already knew the game with her. Even as, I'm just going to say, as unsociety as Danny is, naive, even he was just like, yeah, she'll be back. She'll be back. Heathen, love this name. Heathen74 said, I have secondhand embarrassment for her. And, there are people that really feel sorry for Lilazy. They do. Now, she's always got dudes on tap. And she knows how to keep them because she has a baby with them. But it was Quinton's daddy that wasn't going to hang around. It was Quinton's daddy that was like, he's not mine. He found out later he was. It was Quinton's daddy. And that was a huge, huge resentment for her. Huge. She thinks you have sex with a man, they're yours forever. But again, there are a lot of people that still feel sorry for her. And we're just friends here. We're friends here. So don't be embarrassed. If you actually feel sorry for her, put a 1 in chat. If you're like, I could give a shit about her, put a 2 in. No judgment here.
All right, moving back to States Exhibit 18, slide 3. So is it the case that message on slide 3 was sent the same day that video was filmed?
Yes.
I mean, it really is hard to see, a mother, a woman, going through that type of, well, whatever you want to call it, and not have some sort of sympathy for them. But now we get to this. Her attorney said it was a shock. The verdict was a shock? Did they never glance over at the jury? Hey, one dude on day 2 was already falling asleep because he'd already made up his damn mind. He was like, let's get on with this. I already heard the opening statements. I already heard the first detective. I got this figured out. I'm falling asleep. But it was a shock.
The verdict in the murder trial of Leilani Simon remains trending in true crime this morning, 2 years after the body of her 20-month-old son, Quinton, was found in a nearby landfill. A jury convicted Simon of all 19 charges brought against her in connection to the child's death. Let's take a quick look back at the moment where the verdict was read.
As to the verdict, it reads as follows. We, the jury, find as follows: malice murder. We find the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We find the defendant guilty. And count 19, making a false statement. We find the defendant guilty.
Joining us now, we're so pleased to welcome in a very special guest, the lead attorney for Leilani Simon, Martin Hilliard. Good morning, Martin. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Good morning, Ms. Grant.
So tell us, I understand that you did talk with your client, Ms. Simon, over the weekend. Any updates you can share with us on her?
I mean, she's obviously disappointed in the verdict. I mean, we haven't gotten a sentencing date yet. As I do with all cases, she's going to appeal and file a motion for a new trial. So, I mean, it's, initially it was a shock, as it would be for anyone.
Sure. What about her other 2 children? Can you speak to what's going to happen with them now?
My understanding is her mother has custody of those children, and there's a defects case going on with that. And my understanding is that's still working its way through the court system. So.
Okay. His understanding is there's a defects. I mean, look at his face. He doesn't know. How in the hell would you trust Leilani to tell you something? Look at his face. And my understanding is her mother. Now, the chick on court TV does 1,000 times better than I could ever imagine, because I would have been like, do what? Her mother? Now, I understand that BJ didn't kill Quinton, but she had been warned by the state that Leilani is unfit. How on earth, between Zane's family and Danny's family, can you not find someone more capable of raising these children? But the CPS system is so screwy. They're probably like, well, we want to keep them together. We want to keep them together. She's already failed once. That's the reason she lost custody of Zane. She lost custody of Zane because she did not provide adequate supervision for Zane when Quinton went missing. Look at his face. Goodness.
Gotcha.
That's all I really know about that.
Sure. No, understood. Let's talk a little bit about her decision not to testify, certainly acknowledging that is her right. The jury could not hold that against her. Of course, a lot of people was very curious about what she may say if she would get up there. Let's take a look back together at that moment.
I've been given plenty of time by my attorneys, notified weeks ago about this.
Do you need any time to talk with him in private about this?
No, ma'am.
All right. And so do you personally wish to?
This made me so dang mad. She's trying to be all cutesy and innocent for the judge. No, ma'am. And like she's grinning at her. I'm like, bitch, it's not a bench trial. You have a jury. And they obviously didn't buy anything that your defense was trying to put out. And let me tell you something. This face right here, would have no issue with people that had nothing to do with Quinton's murder. Danny, her own brother Paul, Bubba, her own mother. She would have no issue for them going down for what she did. Mark my words. She would have no issue with that.
Testify or not?
I do not.
Martin, were you at all surprised at her decision not wanting to testify, or did you think that she might?
No, I was fairly certain she wasn't going to testify. It's something that we discussed at length leading up to it. There was a question about the manner and method in which Quinton died, and we knew the state was going to make a big deal about the statements that were made during the investigation, and she ultimately decided that she just didn't want to add to anything more to the state's case and chose not to testify.
Sure. Certainly a smart decision that she made there. You know, a lot of people, of course, just wanting to hear from her, but not the best thing legally, as you know, Martin. You mentioned some of the statements that could kind of come back, to haunt her, so to speak, if she were to get up there. During one of the interrogations, she seemed to concede that if she did something to baby Quinton, if she would take responsibility if that was the case. Let's look back at that moment.
I don't know if I did something to him, but I'm not going to take that responsibility. I'll take responsibility, but I'm talking to God. And so come on, take my heart and cross my arms. That's what I want.
Martin, would you speak to this piece of evidence, please? Because many could watch this and interpret it as perhaps an admission of guilt there.
Well, that's how the state definitely tried to play it. The reality of it was, though, that was part of, she made a number of statements, and that particular statement was later in the investigation, and after a lot of poking and prodding by the state. So if it was really just, if I did anything, I would take responsibility for it, but it wasn't really a concession.
Well, dum-dum, no one said it was confession. She just thinks that she's painting her way out of the corner she painted herself into. Yeah, I don't have time for women like Leilani. I don't have time for women like Katie Proudfoot. I don't have time for women like Candace Wells. I don't have time for women like Kayla Montgomery. I don't have time for women like Letitia Stout. I don't. They can't sit with us. They can't. I mean, this is where she's at now. This is who she gets to join. Well, look who's back, y'all. UFC Frog, what's up, my friend? I've missed you. You okay?
I know it seemed that way in taking the excerpt out, that's the way it would seem, but her position was, as she said, that she would take responsibility if she did in fact do anything. And that was much of a piece of a much bigger, longer interrogation.
Gotcha. Martin, if we could talk about Daniel Youngkin. He became a really key witness for the state, as you know, even claiming that Leilani told him at one point to make some false statements to investigators. We have a look back at that clip. Let's watch it now.
Do you remember telling him that when you woke up at 3 a.m. that Leilani was asleep?
No. Well, if I did, then that's probably something she told me to say.
Okay. And you remember telling her Quinton was okay at 3 o'clock?
Probably based on what she told me to say.
Martin, how key to the state's case was Daniel Youngkin in your view?
Yeah, before he answers, I'm going to say it. I think he brought it home for the state. And I have a feeling that dude is freaked out. Freaked out. Because he knows that the suicide video, Quinton's, in quotes, disappearance, was all to keep him. He has a different type of anxiety he has to deal with. He has to think every day, what did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? Besides the drugs and all that stuff. What did I miss besides her crazy text messages and things like that? You know that's what he's thinking. Of course he is. We heard the babysitter. Her daughter, I thought, was more compelling than the babysitter. Nothing against the babysitter. I just thought her daughter broke my heart. But just imagine being Daniel Youngkin. And he has to live with this every day that he moves to Savannah, Georgia to move in to the girlfriend's mom and stepdad's house. He's only known old girl a few months. They're having a baby. Then crazy starts happening. I'm sure he heard a lot of arguments between Lazy and BJ. I'm sure he heard a ton of them. He's probably thinking, how do I get out of this situation? Next thing you know, he's on the friggin' stand after he cooperates with the FBI like Al Stout did. He's kicking himself in the ass every day. Because nobody in their right mind is going to go around thinking somebody in their house is going to kill somebody. They just don't. But his testimony was huge.
I think he was a key witness for the state. I don't think he came across as likable as they would like him to. To be quite frank, the evidence was that he was in the room, he was high, he'd been doing drugs. The other children were in the room as well. And if it wasn't Leilani, it had to be him. And honestly, I'm still not convinced that either one of them did anything to Quinton. I understand the jury's verdict and we have to accept it for what it is, but there was just other evidence. But he was definitely key to them securing a conviction, that's for sure.
So tell me, what other evidence are you referencing, Martin?
Well, when the police officers first responded on October 5th, there was vomit, an overwhelming smell of vomit, according to Sergeant Stewart in that room. and there was vomit in the pack and play. I referenced it in my closings. It came out through Detective Lemons. It came out through Sergeant Stewart. And the one concerning thing for me was, Mr. Youngkin never one time mentioned that. It doesn't necessarily indicate foul play, which is what I had said. If we have to offer a theory, there are other theories other than something was done to Quinton. But it was important for the state to have Danny testify in the manner and method in which he did, and he was more than happy to do it, as you know from him doing the hotel audio and video recording and the wiretap.
So, Martin, what's your theory on what happened to baby Quinton?
It's exactly what I said in my closing. I honestly believe that these two were doing.
Okay, before he gets to it, we're past the theory game. We're past the speculation game. We had a forensic anthropologist on the stand that explained that when you die, your bones obviously don't try to heal. There's nothing instant to try to bring them back together. When you're alive, they do. And the only part of his body that was trying to heal was his skull. And it was definitely a new wound. I hate to show it, but here it is. It was in the process of healing. And they know that this was a new injury, not something from before, or he would be dead because he's a little baby. He's only 20 months old. She explained it poignantly. So, Mr. This is my theory knows better, because these people, these doctors, these scientists, they know what they're talking about. Yeah, we know Danny was doing drugs. We know it. We know Paul smokes. We know all that stuff. That's not what killed Quinton. Quinton didn't wind up in that landfill because Danny was doing drugs, eating spaghetti, and drinking. No.
Doing drugs, that the baby either got hold of the drugs or had some sort of other medical emergency. And no offense, drug addicts are gonna drug addict, and they, one and or both of them, may have done something to cover it up. But again, it's a theory. It's just as good a theory as, for no reason she killed her baby. Like I said, we respect the jury's verdict, but the reality of it is there's just as much evidence one way as there is the other of how Quinton Simon died.
It's all about the advocacy, as you know, and you had very tough facts to contend with on this one, and did a fine job representing Ms. Simon. Attorney Martin Hilliard, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on the program today. We hope to see you again sometime.
Oh, he did. He gave it the proper college swing. He certainly did, but he was really drumming up the reasonable doubt. They know it couldn't have been Paul because they have the timeline that Paul wasn't there. But they have everything else. They know what time she left the house. They saw her they know that she went to the drug dealer's house. They saw her on camera looking rode hard and hung up wet with a blanket around her, buying 2 tall boys of natural light. Then they see her, tag scanned, same car she's been in, going to the Azalea trailer park to dump Quinton. And that's what she did. She has to live with this for the rest of her life. Danny has to live with it for the rest of his life. He's kicking his own ass, and I really hope that he gets some counseling. He's got to have something to get through this. Billy has to live with this for the rest of her life. What she was telling another channel, that it was just an agreement between her and Leilani. Okay, no, there's no such thing. See, we're talking about children. We don't get to make up our own rules. We don't get to make up our own laws. This is about a child. This isn't about a puppy dog that you hand off to someone else. He's a baby. He's a little boy. The truest thing that Lilazy said was that her mom said, I'm going to sign the papers and I'm just going to give them back to you. That was her decision. That was her decision. And I love what the chief of police said.
And we believe that this was the right move today to be able to do that. She doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving, quite frankly, if I can go off script a little bit. Quinton deserves that.
Quinton deserves a Thanksgiving, not her. Nope. But she'll still be in county Thanksgiving. They're not going to transport her to the women's prison until December. She's going to have a lot of fun there with Big Bertha. Let me tell you, a lot of fun. Well, guys, this has been a great, great show. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be recapping good old Sarah Boone, because I have never in my wildest dreams ever thought somebody would take the stand and say the crazy sheet she did. So we're going to recap that, and do not forget, Monday, Susan Smith is up for parole. Yes, she is up for parole on Monday. Can you believe it? We set our clocks back on Sunday. Susan Smith, guilty of killing her 2 children, is up for parole. It's been a wild year, and I can't believe it's almost over. I don't even know what to do. I can't keep myself still. Candace said, Brooks, are you going to cover the Delphi murders? Yes, I am. Definitely, we're going to go through that. I kind of have my own thoughts on that case. But you guys are the best. So glad that Tiffany was back today. We have missed you, Tiffany. I know you have a lot of stuff going on in nursing school, so she can't exactly hang with us all the time, but we're so happy she's back. Good to see UFC Frog. Had a lot of new names in here and people we haven't seen in a long time. Hope to see you back here tomorrow. Hope to see you back here tomorrow, because we have a lot of stuff to discuss about a goofy-ass Sarah Boone. All right, Mod Squad, all my friends, you guys are the best. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. Love you to pieces.